I've always been interested in knowing about things. I've always been interested in knowing about society, knowing about how my own society works, how other societies work, how societies relate together. I guess that's one of the things that drew me to history. So I've always been interested in those things, and I found that studying them at university imposed a certain discipline upon those interests, so that I was able to understand better, able to understand more by studying those things at university rather than by simply pursuing my own general interests. Most of my publications, that is to say most of the research I've done, has been on settler Australian attitudes towards Aboriginal people and policies toward Aboriginal people. I don't call it Aboriginal history. I regard that as sort of the history of Aboriginal people themselves. This is a history of settler Australian attitudes towards Indigenous people and policies. I was drawn into that area because I studied here at James Cook University, I guess. My people who influenced me when I was an undergraduate and then a postgraduate student included historians like Henry Reynolds and Noel Luce, who were pioneers in that area of Indigenous Australian history. So that promoted my interest and pushed me along that sort of path. My main research project at the moment, I'm writing another book. This one is called The Empty North, and it's basically a history of Australian attitudes toward Northern Australia from the late 19th century through to about now. The Empty North was a term that was widely used from the beginning of the 20th century until about the 1960s, 1970s, expressing unease about the fact that Northern Australia was underpopulated compared to Southern Australia. And so I'm just using that as a sort of focus for examining the history of attitudes toward Northern Australia. And there's a topicality to all this, because once again, people are talking about developing the North, they're talking about the food bowl of Asia, they're talking about bigger populations in the North. And the thing about it all, as an historian, I get a great sense of deja vu about this. I mean, pretty much everything that's being said now, as if by both the Labor and the Liberal parties, as if it's some new sort of stance on Northern Australia. It's all been said before, it's all been tried before. There's nothing, well, some of the specifics are new, I guess, but the broad thrust of what's being said today about developing the North is just a recapitulation of what's been said and done before.